Brian.
What's going on, everybody? This is Jacob Shoup. You're watching the Tom O'Brien Show. We're not having the camera on today, but we will have it on hopefully by Monday. Let's take a look what we got going on in the market. Man, quite a bit of stuff happened today. Wild market yet again. You did have some fantastic moves by our guy, Broadcom. Talk a little bit about that. You're up 7.85%. As we've been saying on this show, out of all of these big tech or chip companies, Broadcom is best positioned, I think, to continue growth. I don't think it's seen its max amount of growth potential. ASICs are going to be extraordinarily important. These are like, if you think about it in a biological way, this is like these specialized organs in an organism itself, and I just think the ASICs are massive. And that was reflected in their earnings report. So you have movement of 7.98% right now today. We'll see if we can traverse back up around that 200 level, 240 before these massive this massive turn down. I think the argument for Broadcom is still there. I think these guys are dominant. I think what they make, again, as I will reiterate, is different than things like the GPUs, and I think they're extraordinarily important. Again, am pretty neutral on GPU manufacturers. Same thing with NVIDIA. I think NVIDIA had a lot of exponential growth baked into it that wasn't really sustainable. At 112.63, I still think you're good because you're at a 2.7 trillion market cap. Now, while GPUs will probably be larger volume-wise, right? I think the real value is going to be in ASICs. I've also been reading some things recently about the potential dominance of CPUs in the future as opposed to GPUs. At some point, we should probably go over that. We can talk a little bit more. I don't know currently who would be positioned to benefit from that. Of course, Intel has quite a bit of experience in the CPU realm. But I think as I've said multiple times, we are 0.99% today. Their leadership is just not there. I mean, they don't even have a CEO. But I mean, the board is a massive issue. If they cared about the company, they should probably step down or at least stop having a say in how things operate in this company. It is just unfortunate. The SPY trading up 0.65%. You have some decent volume already today. Of course, you cracked down even lower in the morning, down to 565.30. We've recovered most of that to be green currently. You're up 0.59% at 576.21. I still think we're probably in a phase of this market where any kind of bump to the upside is going to be used as exit liquidity. You have a lot of capital going into money market funds. And I think that will probably stay that way. The reason I say that is because a lot of this is driven by macro uncertainty. And I believe the current administration will continue to add uncertainty to the market. Perhaps you don't get any insane, maybe you don't get more selling to the downside unless new developments occur. But you certainly don't get this rally back up to 613. Now, I think we probably will try to test that. I think there's a lot. I think the sellers have basically sold at this point. We'll see what happens. But anytime this market's going to move higher, I'm anticipating further sell-offs. Right? I mean, it just kind of makes sense. I think people want to get into cash. They're not trusting what's going on. Of course, you're having gold contract. Of course, you're giving back a little bit today. But we're still at these super elevated levels. Talking about some of the miners as well. You're looking at Harmony. You're up 9.82%, which is fantastic. Take a look at AEM. You're up 1.09%, and then Barrick as well. Take a look. I think these are some of the strongest gold equities right now. You're up 1.68%. I really do recommend, of course, we talk with Tim Ward, and on Tuesday we're going to have some, rather specific equities to look at as opposed to just the GDX in and of itself. But I also want to say, check out the gold report, right? You have Tommy O'Brien authoring it now, and him and I spoke sometime this week, and kind of his insight on the miners I thought was fantastic. And I think you see his insight kind of reflected in, things like Barrick going up, like AEM, like Harmony, and you see the L's taken in companies like MUX. Anyways, strongly recommend checking that out. Again, if you want to do so, you can go to TFNN.com, go right over the newsletters tab. We have the gold report right there for you. If it's your first time doing the gold report, that's totally good. You can do it completely risk-free. I know we have a lot of new listeners, especially on YouTube. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee on all of our newsletters. You can do this risk-free, no strings attached. Take a look right now. The SPY is trading up 0.66% at 576.51. You have the composite about 0.82% at 18,219. Dow Jones Industrial up about 0.61% at 42,835. With the Russell futures trading up 0.71% at 2,085. Your dollar, man, really moving down. You're at 103.84 and the dollar off about 0.25%. Crude oil continuing to go up. We're going to wait for the Tiger Forex report, which is released on Mondays. But Teddy Keckstat goes over, crude as well. And I've always really liked his analysis on it. He's actually one of the guys I defer to on crude. But of course, if you look at, general macro environment kind of pressures on crude oil, you have essentially a threat against Iran, right? If a nuclear deal is not reached, Trump says he's going to hammer their oil production very heavily. So that, of course, raises this price here. It is interesting to me, however, that it's not, usually when you have geopolitical uncertainty like that, you can get very wild price swings. You're not necessarily seeing that currently in crude. So if you want to stay tuned for that, of course, you can get the Tiger Forex Report newsletter. Take a look at the gold contract, off about 0.42% at 2,914. You have copper trading off about 2.05% at $4.70. Let's see, silver off about 1.33% at 32.89. Let's see what else we got going. Celsius kind of recovering a little bit, up 6.85% today. What is Palantir doing? Up 5.34%. Something interesting to note with Palantir, again, not a lot of volume here. Looks like you're really, listen, it's some perfect stuff here. Really filling these gaps in a lot of these major equities. Of course, it's got a little bit of the Trump bump, but you have so much selling going on here that I can see the energy not falling through, at least right now. We'll talk a little bit about Hegseth, some of the ways he could be helping Palantir, some of the ways he could be harming Palantir as well. So if you stay right there, we'll be right back. We'll go over, we had a lot of stuff to talk about today. Stay right there.